Good morning, everyone. I am Tony Dinsdale. I am the software product manager for Sensus Analytics and Customer Portal. I partner with Joe Stevens and Corey Angst on the platform. So today we're going to give you an overview of Sensus Analytics, a very high-level overview just so you can understand what is Sensus Analytics. Joe is going to go over some how-to and tips and tricks of different things that as you navigate through your first 100 days are just little things that will make it a little easier or little nuggets that you may not have tripped along yet, right? You got your system, you're working with it, and you're like, oh, I didn't know I could schedule a report, or I wasn't thinking about sorting something. So Joe will do that, and then I will come back and just talk a little bit about our team and our strategy, and then we'll take some questions. It's really important to understand where Sensus Analytics fits into our overall FlexNet AMI solution. What we do is we take all of the data that's coming from the endpoints, meters, smart points, that comes through the system over the base stations into our regional network interface. So it's just back end, all that data is coming in, it's raw data, and you see it, and some folks are using RNI, but once it hits RNI, we go and take a subset of that data and we bring it into Sensus Analytics and we display it through a variety of places. And if you have Customer Portal, what we also do is use some of that Sensus Analytics data and we show it out to your consumers. So this is the true power of having the data all in the network. And you'll also notice that you have the billing system, which also integrates the data. So if you think of Sensus Analytics, it's a lot of data, and you don't have to worry about it because we're managing it for you, and we're going to help show it in ways that are going to help you get things done. So what is the big picture? It's just a modular suite of applications, right? So not on the App Store yet, but we'll eventually get there, I think. That's the goal. But think of them as little apps that work independently of one another, and in some cases together. It's really integration ready, flexible and scalable, and it's easy to train. It's pretty straightforward. A lot of people are like, I don't know what to do with it. We're going to help you with that. Analytics without intimidation, that's marketing right there, right? This isn't intimidating. Okay, so to start, think about it in kind of 3 chunks. You have your key fundamental apps, which are like your MDM functions, right? Billing, admin, meter insight, and we merge the meter and account data for billing analysis and some other management and customer service tasks, right? So that's like the basics. Those are the fundamentals. Most everyone has all 5 of these apps. That's what you get kind of right out of the gate. Then we also have another couple apps for alert and alarm management. So this gives you very specific insight to alerts and alarms, and you can look at that data and manage that data in a specific spot. Most customers have this. You may or may not. Most customers also have these 2 apps. Now, you may not be using them in your role in the utility, and your administrator may not have turned them on for you, but most utilities are using this. And then we have advanced apps. These are specialized apps that help you solve very specific problems. Revenue loss, pressure profiling, hidden revenue, right? So very specific. These are usually purchased separately as add-ons. You might hear them called add-ons, but that's kind of just the basic packaging. So I mentioned Sensus Analytics and data without intimidation. So really what Sensus Analytics is, it's taking all different kind of data from everywhere off the network, the meters, it funnels through, and that is what Sensus Analytics is. So it's funneled data managed by the admin in your office to decide which of the apps that you get so that you can take action, and these are just some of the actions you can take. Creating groups, scheduling report, managing, exporting data, monitoring trends, monitoring alerts. So, right? It's not intimidating at all. This is what the landing page looks like when you log in today. So you'll log in. Now, some of you won't have all of these apps. Some of you will only have a couple of these, and that's based upon what your utility administrator has given you based upon your role, and also what the utility may have purchased. So remember, I talked about the add-on apps. So if you have someone in the office that's doing some specialized work, they might see a different icon. If you are an electric customer, there is another section that shows at the bottom. It's called Foresight, and you may have one app there. But most people have this view in some variety. So they're broken up into Access and Insight. And you notice we have some refresh icons. We're very proud of our icons. We just kind of gave us a little facelift there, just made them a little crisp. So you're going to start to see some user UI changes along the way, too. We're trying to just give it a little fresh look and feel. So admin I talked about, right? Managing system level access. Who's getting access? Who needs password change for SA? Who's going to set up billing? Very specific. Usually, we recommend at least having a couple people in this role. Someone's out sick. You don't want to have just one person being the admin of the system. Joe will talk more about that in some of the how-tos. The billing access, view, audit, generate billing files in one simple step. It is very, very simple, step-by-step application that you can use. Device access, you could find yourself spending a great deal of time in device access. Device access gives you the ability to drill down into a ton of data per account, per meter. You can do a lot in device access to try to figure out what's going on with a specific meter or endpoint. So Joe will talk about a couple of the how-tos in there, but you will spend quite a bit of time in device access. This is kind of the bread and butter, I think, of our apps right now, in that all the apps that you use, sometimes you'll pop back over to device access and say, I want to look at this a little more granular. I want to get into the meat on this one. Meter Insight is a really great dashboard. So this helps you look at the overall health of your system in a snapshot. Now, we know it can be a little intimidating here, not because it's all data, but because there's a lot of tiles, and it's like, what is inactive versus stale versus, you know, it can be a little confusing. Well, we're going to help you through that. We have some quick guides available out on My Sensus, out on the portal that you have, My Sensus. I strongly recommend you go and you take those. This will help you tremendously. And then report access. Very straightforward. You can go in. We have about 15 reports that you can use right now. I don't know the exact number. I should have coming in here, but I was busy doing the slides. But we have about 15 reports. This is an area you're going to see a lot of change, I think, happening, a lot more reporting. We're focusing on this in the new year, but that'll be over time. But this has a lot of great little nuggets, and Joe's going to give you some examples on how to get the most out of setting up some reports. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Joe. He's going to talk about the how-tos using just those 5 key fundamental apps that I told you about. So you may have 20 apps, but we're going to help you with just the 5, because those are the ones in your first 100 days are going to be the ones that you're going to get the most value of and be able to navigate the system.
So as Tony said, yeah, these are the 5 key apps that everyone gets on Sensus Analytics. And we decided to present this way to give you a good feel for what you can accomplish using Sensus Analytics, some of the common situations that you'll be faced with in your day-to-day jobs, and kind of show how the platform can help you solve lots of different issues that come up in just your day-to-day operations. And so we split this up into lots of different roles and parts of the organization. So representing billing, the meter shop, customer service, system admin, finance, and we put billing up there twice. Not accidentally, because billing is so important. we know that you're using your AMI, AMR, and Sensus Analytics to bill, and that's always the most important part of this. So yeah, we have all these different situations that can come up, and so I'm going to dive right into the first one. Need to provide access to the system and do that in a reliable and secure way. So this is for the system admin or multiple system admins at your utility, most likely someone in your IT department that's going to keep your system secure. And you know, you have staffing changes all the time, right? You have promotions, you have people transferring departments, role changes, new people that you add, people leave the company. And so this provides a way to manage those users in the system and provide the right level of access. So your system admin can use this tool, and you can see everyone that has access, last time they logged in, what level of access they have. Very easy to use. Reset passwords, all that sort of stuff. And just a few tips on the best way to use this. Most importantly, you want to have a designated system admin that all those access requests go to. We actually have a very important change in our support policy that we just recently made. So if we get any request into our support at Sensus and there's a request to be added to the system, we will definitely not do that. We've done that some in the past, and we identified that as a security issue. We don't know who should have access or what level of access. We can't really confirm that. So this is a rare case where support will tell you, no, we cannot help you. And they will point that person to the utility and say, you need to contact your system administrator. We'd love to help you, but we can't. So that's an important thing to note. And then also, I'd like to point out that we have these standard access levels. So we have manager, billing, and service. And so when professional services sets up your system, they will set up these standard access levels. We call them user groups. And when you add a person to the system or change their access, you're assigning them to these user groups. And each group has its own permissions, the apps that you can open, the data that you can access, the actions that you can take. So it keeps that security aspect to it. So you want to use those levels. And then as you add additional apps, professional services can help you identify the right group to assign those to. So there is some flexibility to how we can set that up. And the third thing, you really want to review the user access on a regular basis. You want to make sure that you're keeping tabs on that from a security point of view, make sure that the right people have the right access. You don't have old people in the system. So the second situation, you're either in the billing department, meter shop, or customer service, and you need to check the overall status of the system. So this is Meter Insight that Tony was talking about, and this is the dashboard of the system, right? So it provides a lot of status about the meters and also the accounts and how that data comes together. So for example, you can find stale meters. And so stale meters is our term for a meter that we've been getting reads from, but then in the last 48 or 72 hours, we haven't gotten a current read. So it's an indicator that when the billing cycle's coming to a close, you don't have a read that you can use for that billing cycle. And so you either need to go out and do walk-by, drive-by to get that read, or investigate, is there a communication issue or maybe a meter issue? So that's something you can keep tabs on day to day coming up to the billing cycle. Another example is identifying accounts that are out of sync. So this is where you have a meter data coming in from the head end, but you don't have a match on the account information from the billing system. So then that's also going to prevent you from billing on that account. And so you have to rectify that issue. Almost stale and stale, it's for each utility you can pick what time frame you consider that. By default, we say almost stale is 48 hours, we haven't heard something. Stale is 72 hours, 3 days, we haven't heard anything. And so that's configurable, and several of these, the thresholds or the timing is configurable depending on your process. So when you get onboarded by professional services, they'll take you through a workshop to like determine how you want to set that up. On each of these, there's a little information pop out, so you can always click on that, and then it describes what this actually means. And also on each of these, this tells you, how many meters or radios are in this category, and then when you click on it, it gives you a whole list of them and all the details. So that helps you, you can export that, you can filter or search on that and find the information you need. And then also another example is issues with usage. So we have a max threshold exception, like for water that would be, on a per account basis, you can have a high threshold warning. And so if it exceeds that, then you have a list of all the customers that you may want to contact and say, you have a lot of usage this billing cycle. Or another issue is with inactive usage. So this is where the device is inactive. It shouldn't have any consumption, but you're getting consumption and you're not going to be able to bill on that. So that's some potential lost revenue that you need to figure out what's going on there. So all sorts of different metrics here for different people within your organization to use. Okay, yeah, so a few tips on using Meter Insight. You can use the time filtering on this to help diagnose when a issue started. So you can go back a month or last week or yesterday and see how these numbers are changing over time. And you definitely want to address this on a regular basis, probably daily, and have lots of different groups within your organization looking at the different tiles on a regular basis. And then finally, you can divide and conquer on this, because you can filter by billing cycle or device group. So you could set it up so that you have all your residential meters in a device group, and then all of your commercial or industrial in a different device group, and then have someone look at billing cycle 1 and another person look at billing cycle 2, and so you can kind of split up the work in lots of different ways. Okay, next one. You're in the meter shop. How do we stay ahead of issues in the field? And so there's a lot of different ways to do this, but I wanted to highlight report access. So this is the alarms report, and so this is great for the meter shop. You can set up reports, and you can do multiple versions of this. You can pick which device alarms you want to send to the meter shop, and you can schedule this, right, to say every day at 9 a.m. send the alarms to the meter shop, and you can break it down into customer leaks, low battery alarms, outages, anything that you want to put in there, and you can just put it into your regular process. And there's a couple other reports as well that are very helpful. So we have a continuous consumption report for customer leaks that's configurable on the thresholds, and also negative consumption, right, where maybe there's potential theft or the meter was installed incorrectly, or other issues. So this is a great way to keep the meter shop informed and send the data directly to them. tips on this, you can definitely tweak the alarm types that you're including, and maybe you want to split them into different reports, sending them to different people for investigation. Once again, you can divide this into your routes or your billing cycle, if that's helpful. Also, you can set up device groups to send specific accounts in that way. It is very, very flexible. And yeah, you can set up multiple reports on multiple schedules. You have a lot of flexibility there as well. So your utility director tells the whole organization, we've got to start cutting down on our potential lost revenue. And we've got to use our AMI data to do this. And Sensus Analytics can definitely help you address this, both using Meter Insight and Report Access. You can, this is one of the tiles from Meter Insight. So this is the inactive device usage that I was talking about before. This is where, we've got usage. You can see the right-hand column. That's the, I think in this case, gallons. This is the usage that we're seeing on devices that are inactive and they shouldn't be on an active account. We need to investigate why we have this usage and avoid this lost revenue. Also with Report Access, we have the negative consumption, right? That might be some theft going on, or the meters installed backwards, or zero consumption report. This is where the meter is stuck. It's not reporting that usage anymore, and you need to go through these and go out into the field and figure out what's going on, so you can help meet that goal that your utility director set out. So then your finance department finds out that you have all this AMI data, and they say, hey, can you help us out? We need to understand what our potential revenue is going to be on each billing cycle. And you say, yes, we actually can do that. So we have the consumption report in Report Access, and this can be used for so many different purposes. But in this case, what you can do is you can create a device group that has all of your top accounts, right? That finance says we need to track all of these. And so it could be your top 50, your top 100, and you can set up a report to go straight to finance. They don't have to have access to the system. You send it to them every Monday morning, and it has all the top accounts and all the consumption for those accounts, and it even adds up all of them for you. And so finance can make their projections for that month or that billing cycle. And you schedule this on a regular basis, and then you set up the email addresses where it should go, and then it does it for you on a regular basis. Billing, obviously this one's very important. So Billing Access is the app that you use to do your export of all the billing information to the CIS or billing system. And so it's a very straightforward application that is very, very powerful. And so how it works is you can select which billing cycle you're going to run. You can set up the dates, the start and end date, and basically it looks over this period of time and finds the most recent read. So you have some flexibility there where you can say, well, the actual end of the billing cycle is October 1st, but we're willing to go back 2 or 3 days to find a read. And then you can do a test run it, the system goes through and finds all those reads, and then it tells you, here's all the meters that we found, here's all the ones that are stale, that we don't have a read in that time frame. You want to go and do walk-by, drive-by, or however you need to get those reads. And if you are set up with auto read, you can create your list of meters, load it into that system, and then go get those reads and then bring them back and import them into Sensus Analytics. So you can support your AMR, AMI, system from Sensus Analytics. And this is the last situation that can come up. Well, this one will definitely come up. So in customer service, you get a call from your customer and they're asking you, why is my bill so high? So device access is your deep dive into an account and the meter for that account. It shows you all of your metering data, all the consumption data. On electric, it shows you the voltage on that service delivery point. And with the new Ally meter, it shows you the pressure at that delivery point. So all the meter data can be shown here for a particular account, and it has graphs, it has tables with all the data. You can show the hourly data or look at it on a day-to-day basis or monthly, and then that way you can help your customer kind of figure out, well, why was the bill so high? This particular day was high. What was going on there? Do you have a pool, or do you are you using electric heat? So you can help them, guide them, and you can even share these graphs with your customer if you need to. You can print this out, download the image, email it to them, help them understand. And then I'll also point out that the self-service model is to have customer portal, which presents this data to your customer, and then they can look at it themselves, and you can point them there. Just a couple tips here. You can look for trends on a monthly, weekly, or daily basis. And you can also look for leaks if it's a water customer, and look for customer leak alarms. And that was the last one. I'll hand it over to Tony.
Thanks, Joe. So we have had a couple questions on, R&I versus SA. And if you think about it, R&I is your network health. It's where you're looking at all your network, your base station data, the raw data. And on the SA side, it is about your accounts and your meters and your billing. So that's where we've drawn the distinction, which is why you don't see some of that data. But if we have a solid use case, we can work through that, like Joe said. So let me just take another minute. I know we're getting close here. Just wanted to let you know that from a software perspective, we have done a lot of work this year in creating a mission working in our organization that we are holding ourselves accountable to, and we'd love for you to hold us accountable to this as well. We do want to work on having a modern platform that is easy for you to use and that it helps you understand the outcomes of the data so that you can service your customers. It's very important to us that we're all moving in the same direction. So this is something you'll see over and over again. Our team will continue to work on this. And who is our team? A lot of folks, it's organizationally, right? It's really hard to track where everybody is at Xylem. And so this is our ecosystem of a team. We have Bruce Barat sitting here in the front. He was brought on earlier this year to form this organization, which is software services, communication, and infrastructure. And you can see that we all fit into this ecosystem and this end-to-end data model and flow. So we're here as a team to help and to service you. We do have someone from an R&I perspective on our team. We do have ownership there, base station. So as our team starts to partner together, I think we'll be able to bring you even better end-to-end solutions. So we have a lot more collaboration and communication internally. So reach out to any of us at any time, and we thank you for coming to the session.